Hey everyone, we are live. This is Arsenal Fan Circle. How's everybody doing tonight? And where are you all calling in from? Today I've got Alonso just back from holiday. Alonso, how are you doing?
Good man, just hanging out. Getting ready to go back to work here shortly. So looking forward to it.
Getting back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right, very good. Let me know everyone in the chats where you're from. We got a few people here already in. Um, who's in tonight? From generally, where do you all hail? Um, do you have a local watering hole to watch Arsenal games at? Yeah, so get involved, people. Steve and Denham, thanks for joining us again. Rohan's in the house. New York City is represented, and don't waste that tweet. New Jersey in the house. My neighbor next door, New Jersey, and one of the moderators here. So appreciate all of you being in here. Um, we got a lot to get through tonight. We're going to obviously the hot topic is transfers. Who's going to come in? Who's going to come out? How are we going to generate some cash? Because we need to get some players. I think there's a few players on the shelf that we're going to go get, just waiting for us to generate the cash. Is it a buy sell or is it a sell buy, Tony?
Buy then sell.
The fiscal guy is saying buy first, but I'm of the opinion that you need to sell some players first. We're not that model right now. Alonso, buy sell or sell buy?
So
Right, that's 2-1, Tony. Okay, and in the second half we're gonna have a run through on the top 10. We're gonna run through who the teams are going to be in our pack, a little bit ahead of our pack, and maybe give you a little bit of a pointer as to who could win the title this year, who's going to make top four, and who's going to get into the Europa League spots. And hopefully it's not us that's in the Europa League spots. Want to just start out with a little bit of a thing I was thinking about Arteta and what he's done for us in the last 7 or 8 months. Really, really good stuff. And I'm starting to think now there's got to be young kids now are starting to look up at Arsenal and look at this badge here, and we're getting a generation of kids that are going to start following Arsenal because the club I think is on the right track. Now we got Mikel Arteta in the house. We've won a cup, the FA Cup, and we've won a shield as well to go with the cup, all in the space of a month. And it's a generational thing, Alonso, and now we have um, kids that may be starting to support Arsenal, whereas we had a 16, 15-year gap where that was not the case.
yeah, I think that when you go from an academy up and you trust your kids, I think that things do happen for them. I think they get Maitland Niles as one of them, and look at guys like Reese Nelson and Joe Willock and soon Miroslav Rowe. They now have roles in this team that Miguel Arteta is willing to let them do their roles and do it well and give them chances. And for the most part, they've done well with the opportunities they've been given. So there's hope for the future as well. And I've been an Arsenal fan for almost 12 years now, and I've never seen the academy kids come up this fast, but yet so talented as well.
Yeah. It's Tony, it's starting to remind me. I started following Arsenal for everyone who's new to this channel that's following us now. And your host here started following Arsenal in 1986. And that was when George Graham had a crop of young players coming through. I see similar things happening uh, this year. In the last couple of years, we have a lot of young players coming through, Tony, that are going to be really, really good in the coming years.
And it's the most talented group of youngsters we've had since probably at least 2005 or even earlier.
Yeah. And for me, I started following Arsenal on the back of young players, exciting play, and we're starting to see that a little bit more under Mikel Arteta. So, Rule, thanks for coming in. Rule says everything is for sale. Um, almost everything. There's about maybe this amount of players that I would hold on to. Your goalkeepers, maybe two of them. Aubameyang, your talisman, Tierney, and maybe Saka. So for me, that's where I stand. When I was in jail, I won more Mars bars with this bet. And Ryan from Mr. Arsenal podcast, thanks for joining us. So listen, everyone, we're going to try and hit the mark of 25 likes for this video. Take a moment now, hit the like button. Really, really would appreciate it. It does help the channel. And what it does is it brings more and more people, if they find the Arsenal fan circle and they join the group. What we want to do here is start building a community of fans here that we can all embrace, new people coming in. We all know each other at this point. Urban Ghost has just joined us. Steve Denham, Ryan here. We want to ride this Arteta train because I truthfully believe that if Arteta is given the funds and given the leeway to go and get his players, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How the wheeling and dealing might happen, but if Arteta is backed in terms of moving players on and bringing players in, I think we all know the targets now that we're after. That good times can come in the next couple of years. I'm more optimistic than the guy beside me here. Tony will give you a little bit more of a hard line on things, and I'll have to get a beat on how Alonso feels on it. But Tony, what's your instincts for the next 18 months to 2 years?
I just think it really depends on how much we invest in the club and let Arteta have the players he wants to have. I don't think our rumored 37 million transfer kitty is near enough for the players we need. We've already lost players that we wanted, like Van de Beek.
And we're definitely going to get into all of that. Alonso, what's your feeling for the next 18 months to 2 years?
I have a good feeling about it because we've signed players who are key to our success last year, like Martinelli, like Saka, like Tierney, like hopefully Aubameyang. So we're making right moves with bringing in Gabriel and Willian. And I believe what Miguel Arteta has done already. He's won an FA Cup, he won a Community Shield, so we had to build on that. And I think that Miguel Arteta knows what it takes to be an Arsenal coach to lead this team forward. And I think he could attract some players that want to be here.
Yeah, I think we've already seen that. I think Tony's got the Brazil jersey here with him as well. Arsenal's half the team is becoming Brazilian now, and I think we were always confident. Let's talk a little bit about Gabriel. He's in the house. It took a little bit of time for the Arsenal administration, Arsenal social media to come up to speed, and they put out a somewhat cheesy video, kind of a Zoom call between David Luiz. It's such hard at times, Alonso. You have a Zoom call. It's David Luiz, it's Willian, and it's Gabriel.
I liked it a lot. I thought that it was pretty cheesy, but pretty cool. Having the Brazilians, sit together, and it has become more of a French flavor to it. I think that in the past you've seen the French revolution come in as well at one point. So I'm okay with that. I think that the more David Luiz and William can help out youngsters like Gabriel, both Gabriels. I think that it's not going to hurt the club. It had those guys, veteran guys who've won before in the Premier League, help those young kids out. So it's always a plus to have that camaraderie, I guess, with the Brazilians.
Yeah, exactly. GK, thanks for joining us this evening. Good people, and Ray. Sam Greenwood is here. Good evening. Thanks, Sam, for joining us all the way from Norway, I believe. DWTT, we should keep Leno or Martinez. Tierney, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Martinelli, Alba. And I've been told Laka as well. And Tony will tell you Laka as well. Sam, exactly right. For the first time in a long time, it seems like we're actually addressing the key areas and not just buying random squad players. And we have addressed the defense now. Saliba came in, and now we got Gabriel. So, Tony, a quick word on Gabriel and addressing the defense before we go into the minefield, the midfield minefield.
I was kind of disappointed by the video chat. I like the one better, just showing all the Brazilian players we've had before. I like that better. It took long enough to get Gabriel. Hopefully, he's worth all the hype. I really don't know much about him, but it's nice to have another left-sided
Yeah, he's got to be better than the crew that we've. He's got to be better than the crew we already had in house. So, Rule said, I actually think we will sign Auoar and Partey in regards to the 2 years perspective. We should be in the Champions League. I actually very much agree with you, Rule, and I think I would be kind of disappointed that this year, at the end of this year, if we're not talking about Arsenal as being a club that is in the Champions League right now, and 12 months from now, we're talking about Champions League games that we're going to play on Wednesdays rather than Thursdays.
No more Thursdays.
No more Thursdays. We're getting kind of tired of Thursdays. Sam, it was very clear to see how important Luis is at the club when you saw how he hosted the unveiling of Gabriel. And I think Martinelli would have been involved, Willian would have been involved, Edu, of course, would have been involved, and I think Pepe would have been involved. So the notion that once Napoli got out of the way, the notion that Man United were going to come and steal him from under our nose, Alonso, was a little bit fanciful. Right, with Gabriel. There was no way Man United were going to come in and steal him.
And I think that Arsenal is more attractive for Gabriel at this point because, like I said, I think that you have Luis, who he looked up to back in Brazil, and you look at Willian, who has been a good player for Chelsea. That's coming to Arsenal is a big plus for him as well. So yeah, and I think it's important that David Luiz is there for him, and he plays the same position, so it would be like a learning curve for him.
Yeah, exactly. Steve Denham, Arsenal have missed a trick with all the Brazilian players. They should have released a yellow strip and promoted it that way. In some way, blending what Tony's wearing right now with the shirt he's actually holding close to him as well, the Brazilian shirt. So
Nice.
Yeah, they could have done something like that. I'm sure there will be a lot of merchandise like that going on. There's no way that there wouldn't be. Okay, so let's get into contentious transfers here. Let's pick a topic. Which player do you want to talk about, Tony? First, someone we want to sign or someone we want to sell? And
Don't say that.
Let's start off with Bellerin.
Let's start off with Bellerin. We actually were talking about this in the green room, and we all actually kind of agree with this. I'm kind of ambivalent to it. If Bellerin goes, fine, but we need to get a 25 million or 30 million for him, which will fund a large part of the players that we're going to go after, and we'll talk about them a little bit later as well. Hector Bellerin, it's really, really funny how football happens so quickly. If this had been 2 days before the Community Shield, we're having a different conversation probably. We're sending, although we didn't want to send Ainsley Maitland-Niles to Wolves for 15 million, we would have been talking about 20 plus for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now we all see Ainsley Maitland-Niles as a player who is blooming. He's going to prosper under Mikel Arteta. And but Bellerin seems to be the one who's going to be sacrificed for a lot of the fans.
And I think he should be on our last chance to get any good amount of money for him, so we might as well cash in. I think every time Niles has been given a chance, he's shown what he can do. First 7 games under Arteta, he did real good. Then he got benched and played 1 out of our last 15 league matches. And
Yeah, Tony, to even think about selling Ainsley Maitland-Niles, a utility player, he's like a Swiss Army knife. You can slot him in anywhere, and he will do a job for you. He looks like a player who can be who can take instruction from Mikel Arteta very, very well and able to implement that. And it just shows the difference between Unai Emery and Mikel Arteta in terms of the message in coaching for a player such as Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Him, Saka, two important. Each of them in about 5 positions, and you really can't put a price on that.
Yeah, so for me, I'm happy enough with Cedric being the backup to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now we'll see what happens. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is a better wing back. Alonso, tactically speaking, he is better in a 3 at the back rather than being 4 at the back. And 4 in the back is something he may have to learn, and Arteta may have to coach it with him.
Well, if Arteta were to coach him, then he's in a perfect position because I think Niles has shown that he's been patient with Arteta and being benched and stuff like that. And Arteta rewards him with playing against Liverpool, playing against Manchester City, and Chelsea in the cup final, and then again against Liverpool. So, and he's just a cool guy that he should be in a lineup every week. And I think that this is a type of player that Arteta should have on his team week in, week out because of his utility style of play. And he can play midfield, he can play both wing back positions. He can even play wing. So I think that's what's so good about Niles, and he wants to play.
And Rule has said that he actually likes the Europa League for the development of the young players, but he obviously recognizes Champions League money is needed. So the sooner we can get Champions League football, the better for this club to develop. And we're going to talk about maybe in the second half as well, when we look in the top 10, how easy or how difficult it's going to be for us to get into that top 4. And we'll give our opinions on that as well. Tony, Ainsley Maitland-Niles has been recognised by Gareth Southgate now, and he's going to be capped by England. So a big factor in his rise to prominence now. Can we say Bellerin has struggled over the last 2 years with injuries, and we don't actually know if he's going to hit the heights that he had before?
I think even injuries was going down, and now after the injuries, his pace just went away, and has never really fenced him as that good of a defender. He's more on the attacking side.
Yeah, so Alonso, in terms of Hector Bellerin and other players in the squad, we can't get too in love with our players. We have to understand that we need to improve. We need to go out in the transfer window. And from my point of view, we have to sell first and then buy. So we can't get too attached to the players. And any number of players in this squad is up for sale.
Yeah, one player that I think you all know is rumored to go on loan is Rob Holding to Newcastle, and he's one player that when he came in the side, and in my opinion, still has a chance to be on the team is Rob Holding because he brings a lot to the table. Yeah, he has the mess ups, and yeah, he has blunders here and there, but he likes being at Arsenal. He cherishes his time here. I think that he cares about the club, and he's won trophies with us. So
yeah,
that's one
but
player that
isn't that part of hasn't that been part of the problem, Alonso, that players have liked to be at Arsenal at a certain level, and our level has been outside of the top 4 in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and so I think this loan move would be good for him. And I wish him the best if he does choose to leave. And like you said, I think that players been clinging on to Arsenal, and I think some players need to go as well. So we'll see what happens.
Don't waste that tweet. Bellerin or Ainsley Maitland-Niles? I say Bellerin because he commands a bigger transfer fee, and there's a lot to be said about that as well. But also, I think we're seeing Tony Ainsley Maitland-Niles, as we said, his potential is on the upward, and we don't know if Hector can actually improve at this point.
Yeah, I think now, future and Bellerin past, it's time to move on. get a good price for him and trust him.
And Tanner's in the chats as well. Tanner's saying that you wanted to sell Granit Xhaka and a couple of other players.
And buy and Lorenzo Pellegrini.
You'll be making some moves, buying Dicka and Lorenzo Pellegrini. And I actually have a little bone to pick with you, Tony, about Malang Sarr. It looks like Chelsea are going to try to tempt Kai Havertz, Bayer Leverkusen. They're going to try and sweeten that deal by sending Malang Sarr out on loan. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Ainsley Maitland-Niles' price should have gone up with an England call-up. So PSG are the rumored destination for Hector Bellerin. Do you see that happening, Tony?
I think it will. We'll have to negotiate on the price. They want to pay about 25 million for him. We want 35 million pounds for him.
And this is one of the Alonso. This is one of the premium clubs in Europe. PSG, in terms of they pay premium prices. They've just been in a Champions League final. They need a right back, and they're going to have to pay. We should try to make them pay over the odds, close to 30 million. They have the money. We have the player. They want the player, and we want a little bit more money. So, this club is going to lose some millions here and there, but we need to gain a couple of million with the Bellerin deal.
Yeah, I think that you had to go for it because Hector Bellerin is like an improve here. He should improve at PSG, where they're always used to winning the Ligue 1 or
French League, yeah.
being always in Champions League. I think he's ready to move on if that were the case. However, I think some fans, some supporters were even saying that Hector Bellerin should be our next club captain because of his love for Arsenal. And I think this is what you go back to saying is like, well, players love Arsenal, but sometimes you got to cut those ties in order to make funds. And I think that if Bellerin wants to go, then he should just go. If it's in his best interest to do so.
Yeah, and I think Tony, he might relish the chance as well, the challenge to go and do something as well in Europe with PSG.
I think he wants to go compete in the Champions League. I think that's his whole thing. He doesn't want to be part of a 2 or 3 year project. He wants to go.
Yeah. Amazingly, he's still in his mid-20s. Amazingly. We think of Hector Bellerin as being around a long time.
30 years old, not 25.
How old was he when he first started? You guys remember? Was he 18?
He must have been 18 when he burst on the scene. Part of the 2014 Cup winning team as well.
That's right.
Rule Carvey, Bellerin has never been the perfect right back, but fan sentiment do not want to see him go. Well, we have a replacement in Ainsley Maitland-Niles. And Tony, we have 3 players for one position, so something has to give here. And I think this is a pretty solid deal that Hector Bellerin will be sold to PSG.
Yeah, a couple other players interested in him. I think he brings us more money than about any other player does, so go ahead and sell him.
Yeah. And we've seen what happened with Torreira. Let's talk about Torreira. That's kind of a very, very tough pill to swallow with Torreira. We all had high hopes with that player. But let's everyone catch up in the comments here, and I'll get through some comments, then we'll talk about Torreira. Urban Ghost, if we're aiming for top 4 and assuming Liverpool and City will be top 2, who will drop out of the top 4, Chelsea or Man United? Stick with us. In about 15-20 minutes, we'll be talking about the Premier League. Sam Greenwood, Torreira is very close to going to Fiorentina on a loan with a buy option for about 20 million. 20 varying reports between 20 and 24 million, but it's still not the amount of money that we paid for him, Tony.
Yeah, we paid 25.6 million for him.
And we're going to be lucky if we recoup that in the end, right?
Yeah, I think a loan deal plus a buy option's stupid when we need the money. Just try to do a player swap deal for player we
My
want.
my understanding is though that will loosen up. That will allow us to go out and buy someone just based on the promise of funds coming in, structured 8 million plus 16 or whatever it is next year.
I'd rather just go ahead and swap for the player.
Steven said we can't get too attached to players. We know we have to sell to strengthen. So as long as we sell to improve, I'm fine with that. Um, Let me know in the comments, everyone, what you think. If all of our transfer dealing should be done by the time we kick a football in anger, or if you're cool. I'm kind of cool waiting till October 6th if we have to, because we'll have only played 4 games, Tony, at that point, and 2 of them are very winnable games. The first 2 games. Steven said the way I look at selling Bellerin is we are any worse when he's not playing. I don't think we are, so sell him. Show me the money, says Rule. Yeah, we need some money to get Partey. I believe the Partey deal is just waiting there on the sidelines, and I think we as Arsenal fans should not get too anxious. Alonso, I can see it in your face. You're getting a little bit anxious.
Yeah. Here's why. I see a much improved El Nene. Now I'm not saying he's Partey, but he's improved so much so that he deserved to be back off loan. Um, I see a different Nene,
You
and
see a different Elneny.
yeah, and
Okay.
and so I think that he's hungrier now. I think loans do help players out, and I think he's a big beneficiary of that.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's no need for Partey. I don't know, but sometimes we get too attached to players that are kind of above Arsenal's price or price range, and we end up not getting them. So I think that maybe it's a stretch to put Onene back on the club just as a squad player. But right now, Party deal seems kind of bleak to me. That's just my opinion.
You think the party deal is seems unlikely to you? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. Tony, what's this deal with the wig stuff that's been going on the last few weeks? I've been doing the podcast, so I've seen a lot of a lot of chat about wigs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing. And chronic, because it's
But
going to pay players. We have to talk about is to pay.
you know what? We love it. I'm up here trying to control the ship, and I'm loving everything in the chats here. So just go for it, guys. It's all good stuff. Silent stand to open a wig stall on Kensington Market to raise funds. Tony, someone agrees with you. Not many people agree with Tony, but at least Steven does. You
What?
know it's Steven. My views on Torreira are tainted. So let's get into Torreira talk. Was Torreira, we've come to know Torreira over the last 2 years. Was he the complete midfielder? No. Was he someone we needed in midfield at the time? Yes. Was he misused by Unai Emery? Definitely. So for me, there was always a player there, but a player who would be able to win the ball back for us. And when he got the ball, he wasn't really able to do much with it, and that's probably how Torreira suffered a little bit. He was definitely used incorrectly. DWTT. Thus, he failed on the field. Then he's been hurt. He got injured, and maybe it is time to go. And it's just something. Maybe Alonso is something just doesn't work out for players, like you say.
Yeah,
Torreira's time at Arsenal.
yeah. I think that um, for me, I had high hopes for him when he first came on, and I think he was, Emery's first signings, and having this whole hype about him coming from Serie A, and him being successful as well. There was hope that he would take over for Granit Xhaka's defensive midfielder position.
Yeah.
But again, Emery didn't use him correctly. And then he scores against Spurs, so he's a legend already. But he can never build off that, And I remember he made that tackle with his head. When he first started, he made that tackle with his head, and I was like, "That's impressive." But I think that with Rhea, he was never able to adapt to the English game, the Premier League. So it took a while for him to grasp on, and when he did, he got hurt, and it was hard for him to get back on the team and be successful like we all hoped he would be.
Sam has pointed us to James Olenka, promising prospect for right back in our under 21s. Was on the bench for the Charity Shield game, Community Shield game. It's not called Charity Shield anymore. Might like to see him get a chance at right back in the League Cup. I think that once the first team gets established and Arteta gets things moving into the season, we will definitely be addressing maybe how our squad is progressing, and some of the young players will probably get in there. Tony, I think Alonso mentioned a highlight everyone's going to remember from Torreira, and something I will keep close to my heart was that 4-2 win over that lot down the road, the Scum, with that amazing goal fed by Aubameyang. Eric Dyer doesn't cut out the pass, and Torreira buries it.
Yeah, I think
Great goal for Torreira.
Have a fond spot in people's memories for that game. But for me, he never got off to a good start because the long World Cup run, he flew to England and back to South America, then flew back again. Then they had friendlies in South America. He's just tired. Then we used him in a yellow all season, never giving him a proper rest. And after Arteta came in, he's never used as a central defensive mid, and we just never utilized the player.
Tanner has said the bearded gooner would prefer to have business wrapped up because, remember, incoming players from the mainland have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Definitely. Yeah, for me, it's maybe it's the best thing that Torreira is now going to go back to Italy. We're going to get a little bit of cash from him as well, and every little bit is going to help. The Torreira sale and the prospective Bellerin sale should be enough to activate the Thomas Partey deal. Tony, we've been talking about Thomas Partey for quite a while now, but let me get into Sam's comment before we get into that. Sam said, would love to have business wrapped up by the 12th, but we know that's not how transfers work, and we will be doing business up until the last day, most likely. And Sam, we'll get into the economics and the nervousness, I think, amongst clubs about that. But Tony, what did I just talk to you about? Partey, yeah. Something that's been on the back.
Yeah.
It's on the back burner. It's been on the back burner for months, and my personal feeling is that we will activate the clause, and it looks like we're going to have to pay it in full and in cash because Atletico Madrid are not going to mess around with this.
That's usually a way to pay it in one lump sum. Only a few clubs that let you make payments on player.
So in the past, we've paid in increments.
Installments, yeah.
And so I don't blame Atletico Madrid for wanting to be so wanting to win up front because they don't let this stuff slide, and good for them. Because you're right. I mean, because Stan Kroenke can afford him, he just doesn't want to pay it. It's just mind-boggling how.
Yeah, that's not the business model though, Tony. Tony and I will butt heads about that. We'll go this way, butt heads.
Yeah, but
It's crazy. I mean,
still broke after paying all that money for Felix. They're paying Simone $35 million a year, even with a 70% wage reduction. He's still making $11 million a season coaching them.
DWTT, many are saying the transfer activity will pick up once the Premier League window closes. Squad probably won't be finalized until late October. Sometimes patience is key. And Tony, we talked about Elneny. For me, Elneny is a squad player now. Unfortunately, we were probably going to have to start with him. And he and Elneny and Granit Xhaka played quite well in the Community Shield.
I thought how many did. I thought Zaka was still his normal self. I would
Yeah, but his normal self was good enough to win on the day, right?
Yeah, but he still slows down tempo and just isn't good enough.
Right, slows down tempo.
But I definitely keep Elneny. We're not going to give much money for him. Like Stan always says, he's 75% player, but you get 100% out of him every game. He gives you an 8 or 9 performance, even though it might equal out to 6 or 7 on a better player. He's just worth keeping around.
All right, and you know the way Tanner will always have a hockey reference in his podcast. So Tanner Alonso is telling me that the Flyers just scored. So 4-3 up now, Alonso. Right?
4-4 is tied.
4-4 is tied. We're still alive. I'm a follower of the Flyers as well, being from the Philly area here. So as well. Stefan, this further exasperated the conspiracy regarding Stan's headwear. The bearded Gooner, the season is working like a trade deadline in American sports. Yeah. So a couple of other things on the agenda to talk about. Now, there was a question from Gunnar Glenn. So I want to give Gunnar Glenn a shout out. This was a viewer's question. Basically, Gunnar Glenn was asking, does the panel believe that we will sign both Partey and Auoar in this window? And I'll go first. I believe we'll get Partey. I believe that deal has been done, all but needing to be activated. When it comes to the Auoar situation, it looks like Juventus have backed away from the deal now. So it is between us and Manchester City, basically. Now, you would normally say, Alonso, Manchester City would be tough to come up against in a transfer battle, but their midfield is pretty stacked right now. They've got a pretty decent midfield, and Edu knows the who's the director at Lyon. He's a Brazilian as well, right? Juninho, I think it is. So Edu has a relationship with Juninho there, and I believe that the deal will get done when Auoar to come from Lyon to Arsenal. And we have to do some major selling to raise about 90 million, but it can be done. So, Gunnar Glenn, it is my belief that we will get Thomas Partey and Auoar. Tony?
I think we'll get, but I'm not sure about Auoar.
You're not sure about Auoar. What do you think? What do you think will be difficult about that?
Just it's 50 million pounds without any of the bonuses. I don't know what players we're selling to generate the funds.
We're going to have a fire sale. There's a lot of players that are going to be moved on or sold, loaned out. A lot. Okay, so I think we're getting both. Tony thinks we'll get one. Alonso?
I say we get Auoar. Here's why. Yeah, like I said, if he stays, it's going to be a big question because he knows, like I said, and my hopes is that it can league up again. So there's that. But Hardy, I don't know. I want it to happen, but yeah, it's gonna be tough because players have to move on to get Partey, and in my opinion, that should never that shouldn't happen. We should already have the funds to do so. That's just my opinion, and we don't have.
We got the funds.
Go
We're
ahead.
not going to spend them.
But when we were going for Champions League, it was widely touted. Arteta widely said, depending on what we're going to do, if we qualify for the Champions League, we will have quite a reasonable amount to spend. If we don't qualify for anything, we won't have a lot to spend. But we're in between. We're qualified for the Europa League, so we have a decent amount. Let's say decent amount of money to spend. Nobody really knows what that value is, right, Tony?
It's rumored to be about 37 million.
37 million. And Bearded Gunner, I have the same problem. I'm not able to tag people on my phone as well. Steve Denham, I like Torreira. I rate him, and with better players beside him, I think he would be a lot better. Tony, is there anything else to talk about in terms of the sales in, sales out, and players? I heard a rumor about Hudson Edward, which would warm Stan's cockles, and
Popular player.
Lacazette going in the opposite direction.
We're supposedly linked or interested with him again.
Rohan, thanks for joining us. Up, lads. Thursday's incomplete with our Arsenal fan circle. Respect to everybody watching. Really, really appreciate it. Thursday night. A lot of you are from England as well. So the support that we get here on the channel at this hour is cray. Still the Charity Shield to me, old school. I believe there is a legal issue that you can't say Charity Shield. The world's just gone politically correct, Tony, you know. Bearded Gooner, I was there. Okay. Do you know what that is, Tony? That's because of COVID-19 restrictions. All right, so I think we've gone through all of the players. I think we're going to get Auoar and Partey. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Lacazette and a striker. There is some consensus that maybe Lacazette's going to stay. It all depends on the kind of business we can do. Tony, are you enthusiastic? Are you happy to see that the club is starting to move some of the deadwood on? It hasn't really happened yet, but you're starting to see some signs. And we're not able to get sales per se, but they're like loans with obligations.
Socrates was supposed to sell him.
Yeah, Socrates should go to Napoli.
Yep.
Stefan, thanks for joining us. I mean, years ago, Spurs were crap.
I like it.
Hold on, they still are. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun lately with the fact that we've knocked Tottenham into 3 qualifying rounds due to the fact that we won. Due to the fact that we won the FA Cup, that was like a nice little bonus, a little cherry on the top of that cake. Spurs are going for all or nothing part 2 this season. We know the end of this story, right? It's going to be nothing. They're Tony. They're the gift that keeps on giving. Spurs and Mourinho, the perfect coupling. Perfect coupling. Sam said, "Let's do a crowdfunding for Arsenal transfer fund." Okay, so that was the first half. We're into the second half now. First half was sell, buy, sell, our transfer business. Second half is let's talk about the clubs we're going to maybe get past this season. We're not going to make any wild predictions tonight. On Sunday, we're going to do a show where the viewers will be tuning in, and you will have an opportunity to decide the final placings in the top 20 of teams. So we'll do a random drawing for the people in the chats and the people on the panel, and you'll be able to pick. We'll randomly pick a team. Let's say Tottenham, or let's say Burnley, and you will decide what position they should finish in, and we'll see how the table finishes that way. But that's Sunday. Let's talk about Liverpool. Let's go with the champions first, Tony. So for me, you got Jurgen Klopp, a tremendous motivator, and he's going to be motivated when we meet Liverpool at Anfield. He's going to be motivated to get a result up at Anfield, and we will see Arteta and the team should be and need to be ready for that test. It's going to be another test for us. But the word at Liverpool, they're very much run like Arsenal. Their fans are very nervous right now. They have some contract issues with Gini Wijnaldum. I think his head has been turned to go to Barcelona, and there's some question marks for the supporters if they're actually going to go and get Thiago as well. What's your whole take on Liverpool? And do you think teams are starting to figure them out? And what will their front three look like this season?
And I think teams definitely figured it out. They were ninth or 10th in the form table after the restart. I think
Yeah, Liverpool definitely knew that Liverpool knew that they were winning the league. They could literally crawl over the line. Do you think they came back to the restart motivated and firing on all cylinders?
I think they might be motivated to be firing on all cylinders. They could have come more back to earth this year, and I wouldn't be surprised as City passes them up this season.
Yeah, yeah. Given all of that, I give Klopp on the tactical and motivating meter. I give him an 8 out of 10. Um, they had a record of 32 wins, Alonso, 3 draws, and only 3 defeats, and we were one of the teams to defeat them. Watford broke their unbeaten tag before we got to them. But what's your feeling on Liverpool and how they're going to fare this season?
I think you're right. I think uh, clubs have figured them out. I think that Flemo really isn't a threat like y'all thought he would be or has been in the past. I think his confidence has kind of been shot. Uh, I think that Mohammed, Salah, he's good, he's great, but I
So,
think
yeah,
they become more one dimensional. And I think that Mane has also been figured out as well. So I think that they had a good run, and I think that they should be also favorites to win this year. But it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy. Um, Also, with James Milner being back as well. I mean, the guy is just what 40 years old already. He's like 40 something years old, and he can still play. So I think that he's good for them.
Milner. Yeah.
So I think he's been a very good player for them, and they're gonna be in a fight is for sure. And I think it'll be a close race like it was 2 years ago.
Some comments here from Sam Greenwood. Messi, City are buying Messi. They don't need our. I think Messi's. I think you're tongue in cheek there a little bit, Sam. Alneti does what he has to do. A simple player, but good for the squad. I definitely agree with that rule. City is packed with midfielders, which gives me more confidence for our Leon are notoriously difficult to work with. We had a lot of difficulty getting Lacazette as well, and really only got Lacazette because of uh, the Atletico Madrid situation, right, Tony?
Man,
Smash the like button, people. Thanks so much, Lumberg Camp. The like button is it helps YouTube put the channel in suggested viewing. And my motivation for asking you to hit the like button is to bring more of us fans into the chat section here. We've got 10 here. Hopefully, in the coming months, we'll get 15, 20, and it'll just grow. It'll grow to such a stage that I'm going to try to get everybody's comment here, but it's going to grow so much, hopefully, that it'll become difficult for me. And that's what you want. We want it to be difficult for me, right, Tony?
yep.
You don't want my life to be easy.
Hell, somebody has to.
I want my life to be hell. Arsenal is more like a yard sale. The crosses.
That's funny.
Yeah. So everyone, let me know in the chats what you think of Liverpool. Definitely, I think they are going to. There's, I see them as winning the league again this season, but it's going to be more difficult for them, Tony.
I think they're going to fall back there. I think City can pass them up this season.
And we did say we wouldn't make any wild predictions, and here I am making predictions. Yeah. So their front three, they're really going to need to have some kind of reinforcement in the forwards. Liverpool fans want to get a defender to back up Gomez. They want to get a midfielder, hopefully Thiago in their view, and they want to get a striker as well. They don't think that kid that hit the crossbar for the shootout is going to make it. Always enjoy the stream. Thanks, Stefan. Really appreciate the support.
Hey, Ray, who was that kid that scored against us in the community shield? Menino?
Minamino.
Menino, yeah. So,
So
is it winger or is it striker?
Tony, is he a winger? I believe he's a winger, right?
I think he's a winger.
Yeah. And Liverpool fans are quite enthusiastic for him that he can come off of the bench and be one of the players that can make a difference for them. PS1, sorry. Oh shucks, I might have to dust off that Amiga. All right, so let's move on to City then. Liverpool are going to have a strong season. They're not going to win 32 games or lose 3 of them. They're going to have more of a 80 points plus kind of season. Lumbercamp, I fear that although we'll improve through signings, we have the other top teams. So I'm afraid 5th might be our ceiling, but I fancy us to win the Europa. Now, stick with me. I'm going to give you some compelling arguments in terms of Man United and Chelsea and the rest. I think City and Liverpool, everyone will agree, Tony, that they are the top 2 teams right now. Let's talk about City, Tony. Pep Guardiola seemed to have lost his way a little bit toward the end of the season.
Yeah, they aren't firing on all cylinders after a restart. I don't know if it's just the players being rusty or just no fans to push them on what their problem was, but they had such a huge goal differential for the season. They should have finished higher than points.
I love this comment. Anytime there's a comment against the Spuds, I'm going to butt in here and say Ipswich won the league more recently than the Spuds. I think it was black and white television when they last won it, the 60s. So, Okay, so I've got tactical now. Pep Guardiola for me is a 7 out of 10. They lost 9 games, Tony, almost as many as Arsenal, and they won 26 games. For me, they have a problem in defense and they have a problem in their striking areas as well. If Aguero doesn't come back to his best, and this is his 10th season at City and his final year of his contract. 10 seasons to be at one club is a long time for Sergio Aguero. And Gabriel Jesus to me is not the backup that's gonna replace Aguero, right, Tony?
Hard to say new striker when they scored 102 goals, but they definitely do.
Alonso, the defense wise as well. They lost players at the beginning of the season and they suffered. Manchester City.
Yeah, I think that as long as Pep Guardiola is manager of Manchester City, they're always going to be title contenders, and they have good youth as well. That they could plug in like Fordon, right?
Yeah, but they're going to go out. They're going to go out into the market, right, and buy players. Koulibaly is earmarked to join them as well.
They always overspend, and it's crazy how they had the money to do so, and especially this year where the transfer window has no limit. Basically, I mean, we all saw how Chelsea has spent already. So it's just they're be title contenders for sure. No matter who's on the team at Manchester City, because they had that oil money coming in. No matter who they're spending on, they're going to be somebody. They're going to pick somebody good
Yeah.
um, to help the
Yeah.
charge.
Sam is talking about Everton. We won't, unfortunately, we won't be talking about Everton too much, but because they're outside the top 10, and but we will talk about Everton uh, because of the comment here. They do mean business with Rodriguez and Decore. Ancelotti's going to get some players to work with. Can they improve, Tony? Can Everton improve on their placing from last year and they're outside the top 10?
Yeah, I think I can pass Southampton, Burnley, or Sheffield too. I think I can gain a couple positions.
Yeah,
Get back.
I mean, the minimum for them will have to be Europa League, right?
Yeah, it's usually where they finish 6th to 8th.
Um, here's the situation as well. With the situation with Lacazette, we castigate Lacazette a lot for the play that he needs to do in midfield, and that's accepted that he has to do more things in midfield. Hopefully, when we fix midfield, that's going to help. But when you go through Liverpool, you look at Firmino. He's had 26 big chances, and he's missed 20 of those 26 big chances throughout the league. So these type of players don't really, they're not involved in scoring too much. You know, the central forward players, it's usually a winger, so you're going to see Salah and Mane scoring the majority of the goals, just the way Liverpool plays. The same situation for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. Gabriel Jesus has had 34 big chances, and he's missed 24 of those. So, you know, it's been quite prolific in terms of that. So, you know, these things can help. Um, Manchester City will spend a lot of money. Koulibaly's going to come in, and they probably will have to get a striker. Um, I'm really hoping they don't go after Auoar. I'm hopeful that Auoar will lean towards us because Manchester City will have to get a defender and a striker. And Koulibaly, like we said, is earmarked to come in. Next club up, Tony, is Manchester United. Now, Stan, you might want to cover yours here a little bit. Donny van de Beek has joined Manchester United. Tony?
Yeah, we're in on him. We didn't want to spend the money or couldn't spend the money, however you want to say it. I think he's more of what we needed than anybody since we only scored 3 goals from a midfield and gives you
You
goals.
you can say that, and I can disagree with you. Donny van de Beek was not the kind of player we need. He's an attacking midfield player, and
We only
we've
got
yes,
3.
we've, like it or not, Arsenal fans, we have already addressed that situation, that position with Willian, and I know you don't like that, but that's the situation. We've addressed we have addressed our attacking midfield play with a Brazilian, Willian. So, you know, here we're talking about Manchester City and what their priorities should be in terms of defending and striking. Our priorities have been defending. We got a Gabriel in. Now we need to go and get Partey and maybe an Auoar as well.
We need at least another 2 or 3 midfielders.
But this is all. That's all you're getting. You got Granit Xhaka for another year as well, Tony.
Yay!
Rule has said lock down Liverpool wingbacks and teams will beat them, and I think we're probably, Alonso. Let's step back to Jurgen Klopp a little bit. We're gonna see maybe a Jurgen Klopp that needs to be a little bit more ruthless this season. You know, Liverpool jumped out to a great start last year. If things start difficult for Jurgen Klopp, he's going to have to be a bit more of a ruthless coach.
So when he quit Dortmund, me and my other friend who supports Arsenal here where I live at wanted Jurgen Klopp here at Arsenal because
Yeah,
he had the same style of managerial skills as Arsene Wenger, and he knows how to motivate his players at the right time. And
Yes.
we could have used that at the time. However, Arsene Wenger didn't want to leave, and Jurgen Klopp went to Liverpool. Well, now you see what he did. He's done at Liverpool. So I think this time around, he needs to do what he did at Dortmund and his championship team here, and as well as the Champions League team, is that he needs to be more aware that teams are going out for them, like Manchester City and Chelsea, because the way Chelsea has spent this year. So he needs to be a little bit more ruthless this year. I agree with you, Ray.
Yeah. Let's step back into one person, Tony, we missed was Danny Ceballos, and I think a lot of Gooners are happy that we're going to get Danny Ceballos for another season. I myself, I think it's a good thing. Looking at how he played in the restart, and GK, thanks for the comment.
I just wish we had an option or obligation to buy him instead of a second loan deal.
Yes, but you're overall happy that Ceballos is going to be back for a season. Let's see a smile. And viewers, that's as much a smile as you can get from Tony. I like to pick on Tony a little bit. You know that, right?
Just a little.
Just a little bit. Lumber Camp Socrates is sold for 3.5. We can't sell our players for shit. Yeah. I mean, he's a 33-year-old, right, Tony? So to get even that amount of money, I think it was 4 or some. It was not bad. Liverpool and Manchester City have the fear factor, which scares teams. We need Arsenal to get that fear factor back. And I think. Go ahead, Alonso.
I think why fear factor. I think there's that one player that we have already, and that's Kieran Tierney. I think that the guy, he's got no fear about him, and I think that's what I like about Tierney is that he came in.
Yeah.
He was injured, yeah, but the restart happened, and wow, he became like our future captain, kind of. He had that. Take about a bull, take about a horn kind of player, and we need that for a very long time. And I think that he has passion. He's like the anti-Ganduzi, basically.
He's got everything. Tierney's got everything. He's not put a foot wrong for me. Since he got himself fit, he's not put his foot wrong for me at all. And Liverpool fans will say it's banter that we say that Tierney's better than Robertson, but we actually believe it as well. He is better than Robertson, right? Torreira will be sold a couple of million lost too. True. Okay, so we're on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Manchester United have shown patience with Ole. He could have been sacked a couple of times last season. They're able to engineer penalties like no other team. There seems to be a bias there with the referees. Bruno Fernandes. We talked about Donny van de Beek. Arsenal just didn't have the money, Tony, at the time. They didn't have. They weren't willing to use. They didn't have the money at the time. And Donny van de Beek will be another number. His number is 34, which is your favorite number right now as well. Sam Greenwood, do you think the Salah-Mane relationship is stressed? Yeah, they don't. There's been a couple of instances where they did not work together. Lumbercamp saying it's a joke at this point about our selling and our buying. Lumbercamp, but unfortunately, we're still in the throes of what Gazidis has done to us in the last 3 or 4 years. Would you say that's fair, Tony? Gazidis has led us into trouble in some places, and we still have players on our books on ridiculous wages.
And he's one of the ridiculous wages. Picked a lot of the players we have now.
All right, so let's Alonso, let's come to a decision on Man United, I think they need a defensive midfielder and they need a couple of defenders. They're always likely to give up a goal. They are very, very good going forward, and you would be worried about Rashford, Martial, and who's the other kid that started? Mason Greenwood.
Mhm.
He's been pretty good last season. They're going to be good going forward, but they're going to leak goals. And David De Gea is not the best goalkeeper in the league either.
No, so to me, I've always felt that Martial is overrated to me. He doesn't really stand out. I think that most of his goals are kind of against teams that are lower tier teams, lower tier table teams, lower table teams.
Hmm.
And Bruno Fernandez has been spectacular for them. I think he's been a good signing for them. I think he's a good leader for them. Um, I think Van der Beek, right?
Van de Beek, yep.
Yeah. So I think that he can
We'll call him Donny,
Danny.
affectionately Donny.
Danny. So Danny, I think that he is gonna be okay for them,
Donny
but
with a no.
but I think it's different from the Eredivisie than the Premier League, so it takes time. So they're gonna be an intriguing team to watch for
Yeah,
next year because you don't know what's
exactly.
gonna happen.
You're right. He's going to take some time to adapt as well. They will be an intriguing team, and I think they're not locked in. For me, Tony, they're not locked in to be in the top four again.
Yeah, they're kind of in the fourth to sixth, kind of a toss-up where they'll finish.
Yeah.
Kind of
I've got Ole. I don't think is good tactically. I got him a 6 out of 10. They won 18 games and lost only 8, and drew almost as many as us. They drew 12 games. So, there could be an argument for them that they drew too many games as well. Rule said we will have to bear a lot of loss in our value if we intend to clear some of our players. Sam said Liverpool looked less effective. The signs are there and Liverpool have been going for 2 seasons now. I got a feeling United are going to be somewhere up there this season. Pep has been overthinking himself, yeah, and talking to himself on the bench as well. Talking to fresh air, right? Right, Alonso, that was funny. Yeah. Right, we're gonna get into Chelsea now. Here's my take on Chelsea. Arsenal fans are going into meltdown because Chelsea have been spending the hazard money. Look at it this way: we only play Chelsea twice a year. We played them home and we played them away. We're not going to face Chelsea more than twice a year unless it's in the cups. The other thing, you're buying all these players. Will they all adapt to the Premier League from the start? And do you have confidence in Frank Lampard as the coach going forward? They're going to probably get Kai Havertz as well. Like I mentioned earlier, they brought in Malang Sarr on a free, and they're going to sweeten the deal for Bayer Leverkusen by sending him. Malang Sarr is going to go there on a loan, apparently. So, whereas you thinking that they were going to improve their defense, they're actually loaning out a player, Tony. Their defense is quite poor, and the keeper is pretty bad. They've conceded more goals. They've conceded more goals than us, and they lost 12 games last season.
yeah, but they
Is Chelsea and Frank Lampard all that?
they finished third last season. They're pretty good on scoring goals, and they've added more players to score goals.
Yeah.
A lot bigger goal differential than we did. We just couldn't score enough goals.
But can you guarantee these players are going to hit the ground running when it gets into November on a cold, wet night in Sheffield? Do you think they can play well there,
I think most of them can.
adapting to the Premier League?
I think most of them will adapt pretty well.
Right, okay. But we should not. I think it's fair. We should not compare ourselves to Chelsea.
Yeah, we shouldn't, but they're still above us. Last 5-6 years. So,
Do you think Arteta's a better coach than Frank?
and Chubby Frank, as you like to call him, Fat Frank.
Yeah, Fat Frank. Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone, I didn't just make that up. Everyone calls him Fat Frank. Uh, I think as well. He's Tony to get real here with Chelsea. I think he's under tremendous pressure. They've spent a lot of money. They bought Chilwell, which for me have spent twice as much money as we spent on a Tierney. So Arsenal fans, if you're looking for some areas where we save some money, Kieran Tierney is one player that should probably have costed 50 million. And we've lost some money on some deals, but with Kieran Tierney, we've got a gem there. Sam said you have to think that Werner, Ziyech, and Havertz get into the Premier League quickly. That them with Pulisic is going to be automatic goals and win games. Even with Lampard, even despite Lampard, they should do well. Chelsea's going to be top four. I think it's going to be close. Um, of course, I'm the optimistic one in this panel here. Maybe Alonso is a little bit, but I know where Tony stands. He's not as optimistic as me. Manchester City needs to ask more of Kevin De Bruyne, especially when the team needs a spark. Yeah, DWTT. I've looked at Kevin De Bruyne, and he's looking at his players like Thierry Henry used to look at a young Fabregas. Like he's like, really, I'm putting it on a plate for you, and you're not putting goals away. I think Kevin De Bruyne is head and shoulders above a lot of the players of City. Everton have a way better midfield than us. Right now they do. Hopefully Lombard Camp we can come back in a couple of months and talk about Auoar and Partey. I hope they don't see my chat. LOL. Good vibes. So Alonso, what's your take on Chelsea? I don't think we got your viewpoint really.
Well, attacking, they're very good.
Mhm.
But if you put the proper defense ahead of them, they're not so good. But look at the FA Cup final. I mean, it's a prime example. Sure, young person got a goal in, but what did it do was spectacular the rest of the game. And if they were smart, they would try putting in money in defense. And
if they were smart, yeah.
right. So
and they got the Silva, Thiago Silva, right? He's older than David Luiz.
So I mean, what's the point of that? Is it leadership? And if it is, it's a good thing because they need it. Because to me, Azpilicueta isn't the proper captain for them, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's not that part. I mean, he's no Terry. So, so if they don't build on their defense, then they're not going to do that great in the Premier League. They just scored all the goals, and it may work for them, but for how long, And so, to me, it's always a liability to have bad defense. I mean, look at us. I mean, we haven't had that great of a defensive progress before Tata came along. It took him a while to get defensive prowess. So you have to go. You also have to have a good goalkeeper as well. And at what point are Chelsea going to depend on their youngsters to do well as well? I mean,
Yeah, and that's the thing, Alonso. The youngsters are going to be squad players now. The youngsters have played well. They're not going to get much game time because of Ziyech, Werner, and Havertz that are going to come in. So we'll see what happens with Chelsea. For sure, with Partey, it's 50 million. It's a no-brainer for me. Just wish Arsenal had the balls to get it done. I think it's just a waiting game, Lumbercamp, and I think we just have to wait it out a little bit.
Just a little bit.
We are not the only. Yeah, well, 4 weeks, right? I'd be gassed if we just signed Partey and no one else. I'd be pretty confident, Lumbercamp. I've been saying it all along, and I usually have a good feeling on these things. I was quite confident with Tierney last season when it drew on. I wanted Nicola Pepe 9 months before the club got him. So putting my neck on the line here, Tony. I have a decent track record with these things here, and if it doesn't come off, these shoulders are broad. So come at me, bro. William needs at lumber camp. William needs some help behind that front line. Exactly. Coutinho. Who else? We're gonna have El Neni DWTT. It's okay. We got the Egyptian, who I think has come back, and I think Tony. I think El Nene. I think Arteta can improve his game a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I
What
think
are
it's helping.
Arsenal have to address the defense? Have addressed the defense. Next is midfield. So what I'm just saying to everyone here is, let's have a little bit of patience. Arsenal are a jelly donut with space for the jelly goals. And Granit Xhaka is the jelly, right?
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah.
All right, let's move on to Leicester City. Tony,
With me first.
huh?
So you're not gonna pick a bone with me on Sarr before we move on from Chelsea?
On Malang Sarr?
Yeah.
I already did it. You said you were freaking out because Chelsea have signed Malang Sarr, and now I think they're going to loan him back to Germany. So
That's what I would have done. Try to get Upa Meccano, loan him out to them for a year or two.
if we get, Grealish, he's just going to be too expensive for us. It's just crazy money.
Yeah, that's
Pumpkin
good.
spice coming into pumpkin spice season. DWTT. Ole will be sacked this season. Stan's wig being sold at the AFC yard sale every Thursday. Don't waste that tweet as the cashier and head lemonade dispenser. Sam, I appreciate you coming in every Thursday as well. Ole's start was amazing, but we'll see what happens. Tony, what are you talking about? Buddies. Tony, what are you drinking? Buddies.
Coop, horny toad.
Tony's a horny toad tonight. I hope Man United keep the hay on net. The guy is awful. Yeah. Seriously. The standard of goalkeeping, Alonso, is really bad in the Premier League. You look at Kepa and you look at De Gea. It's proof that you don't have to have an outstanding goalkeeper to be able to get into the top four. But what I'm worried about is injuries to our goalkeeper. That's why I do want to keep Martinez and Bern Leno. De Gea used to be amazing.
Yeah, I think that Martinez has shown his worth or proven his worth.
Proven his worth.
I think he communicates very well to players, the back five, back three.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm not going. I can't. I hate to compare Martinez and
Bern Leno.
because they're both good goalkeepers, and it's unfortunate Leno got hurt, but it's a blessing in disguise because who would have known that Martinez would have come in with such confidence to do as well. I mean, the guy's story is incredible, but to be loaned out 6 times,
Yeah.
I remember the winning game and the FA Cup years ago. He gave up, I think it was 5 goals, right? 5 goals. And to now, it's pretty remarkable what he's done. So we're blessed to have 2 goalkeepers that can start for any other team.
Okay. Lombard camp. I'm not sure what happened. Did Rule get it put in timeout or something or blocked?
I don't know what happened to him.
Well, maybe we can get him unblocked or whatever happened. I'm trusting my great moderators in the chat section here to
The bouncer.
the bouncers to sort that out. 14 likes on the video, I think, right now. So really appreciate everyone who did smash the like button. If you have a chance, just stop and take a moment and hit the like button. We're gonna, yeah. Speaking of like, we're gonna go to Brendan Rodgers next. A coach we all kind of like. Um, for me, I think Brendan Rodgers is not a bad tactical coach. The game against us at the Emirates, we really should have won that game, but Leicester clawed their way back into that game because he has set that team up very, very well, and he's got some good professionals there, and he's got a team that never gives in. But they do good business, Tony. They're able to sell their players for profit. But they're in the market now for a left back with Chilwell, and we'll see how that works out with them. They've taken the objective of selling first, which is what you want to do. You want to sell first. They sold Ben Chilwell to Chelsea for 50 million. Good business for Leicester, but they're going to need a left back now.
Yeah, they have to go reinforce. I think he needs reinforcement. I think he coaches him well, but he still needs a little bit better quality players than he has now.
Okay, I think Lumbercamp just deleted Roll's message. I'm not sure. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, Lumbercamp, good job. You on head rule. Rule, you're back. I'm glad. Yeah, good stuff in the chat section and the moderators. Thanks, Lumbercamp. I don't think we ever have to. I don't think we ever will have to get to the point where we have to. But we're going to get trolls. We're going to get rival supporters coming in here, giving us grief. And as long as it's lighthearted and good stuff, it's all good. Let me know what you think about Brendan Rodgers, because next we're going to get on to, and I think Leicester outdid themselves last season. They exceeded expectations up until the restart, and after the restart, they slid badly. If I was a Leicester supporter, I would have been disappointed with last season because they were in position for Champions League spots right up until the end.
They're sitting in third all the way until the restart, and they just never clicked after a restart for whatever reason.
Yeah. Stefan, panel's not keeping up with the chat. Outrageous. It's great. We're going to have a couple of podcasts where I think I want you in the chats to drive the conversation. You bring the topics, and we'll talk about what you want to talk about. But we also have to have some preparation in terms of what we want to talk about. And Alonso, you remind me of Ruud Gullit right now. You remember Ruud Gullit?
Yeah.
The Dutch master.
Yeah. That's funny.
Bengal star. All right, so Tony, take it away with Tottenham. Unfortunately, Tottenham finished 6th last season under Jose Mourinho. I have Jose down as an old dinosaur. He's 5 out of 10 in terms of the tactical. He's not that good at the tacticals. He lost 11 games, drew 11, and won 16. Tony, take it away.
Yeah, he needs a sugar daddy to spin big for him, and now he just keeps on losing all the players in the dressing room. He doesn't have near the tactics that he used to, and just like you said, he's a dinosaur.
I'm not sure what I jigs, but I'll take it.
When you said we were getting Auoar and Partey.
Oh, great. Well, I'm an optimistic gooner, Alonso, where do you stand? So I'm optimistic. Tony wants to be optimistic, but very often isn't. Where do you stand?
Third last season, then we just totally dropped the fucking ball.
You're optimistic about that. Alonso, where do you stand in terms of your optimism
About Tottenham.
about Arsenal?
Not us.
Oh, so my optimism in Arsenal is that I think if we fight, especially in Europa League.
No, just in general. Like I'm generally optimistic about Arsenal and
Oh,
what we can
so
do.
so I'm confident about. I'm strongly optimistic about the season coming up.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. New Jersey has trash day when everyone puts their bulky waste out in the street. Stan's wig would be first to go. Hold on, I am due to sell replica Stan wigs online, so I'm just going to catch up in the comments here a bit. DWTT is telling me Elneni's not the answer to any of his questions. We might have to live with him for a little bit, DWTT. The Egyptian king. Kepa is 70 million, Murata 60, Bakayoko 40. The list goes on. Lumber Camp. Martinez is more like an old school English keeper where they catch everything and hold on to the ball. And Stephen, Martinez has been amazing since he came on at Brighton. We were all worried about Bernd Leno. And unfortunately, we forgot about Bernd Leno very quickly because of the stuff that Martinez was doing in goal, initiating a lot of attacks, and we scored probably 4 or 5 goals, Tony, from playing out from the back. Now we have to understand that may break down at some point. We're going to concede a goal somewhere just by Arteta rightfully forcing the players to play that.
The other day when we got that goal starting off, passed it to Holding. He was in a penalty box. Then we went back to the outside. One of these days we're going to goof that up and just give somebody an easy goal.
One of these days. Hopefully it doesn't happen at Anfield because I think Liverpool are either going to try to press the life out of us at Anfield or they're going to back off a little bit and not press us. Rule, I'm glad that Rule is back. Martinez is my number one. Chelsea could have bought Neymar with that money. True. Mobe Gunner, thanks for joining us. What's up, boys? Rodgers is an okay manager for me as long as Man U has Ole and Chelsea got Frank. I'm not really worried about them and Jose too. He's finished. So Mobe, you're kind of agreeing with me. I think that if we can bring in a couple of players, this is my angle, my optimistic angle. We can bring in a couple of players and improve our midfield. That Chelsea and Man United and Tottenham are not really up to it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tight, and the top four always goes to the last day of the season. But that's my reasoning as well. Alonso, how's the game going? How's the Flyers?
It's overtime, 4-4.
Still 4-4 in overtime?
Yeah.
Well, you're not optimistic, though. See what happens. Silent Stan is a troll. Hopefully very soon Arsenal's back line won't put too much on goalkeepers. That's what it's all about.
I have a question. So there were rumors about us getting Diarra from Roma as a backup for Partey.
So an alternative, yeah.
Yeah. So from what I've heard from him, I think that he's a good player for Roma. So at this point, I'm okay with the alternative. It's just one of those things that I'm not confident that we get Partey. I think that Auoar is our best chance in this transfer season.
Yeah, exactly. There, Rude Hullet, people. Alonso is sporting his best Rude Hullet there.
If we get somebody from Roma, I'd like to get Pellegrini instead. It's more versatile.
Oh, nice one, Stefan. Jose is now the crappy one. The chosen one. Too many times Arsenal delivered presents just when opponents thought all was lost. Bad Santa. Some teams were lucky last season. Yeah. People say, Tony, it's so difficult to get into the top four. I don't. If we tighten things up, if Arsenal play a little bit better, we can get there.
Yeah,
Well,
with
listen,
that working growth,
we better get through the other three or four teams. That's Tottenham. I don't think they're going anywhere. We hate Tottenham, right? What do we think of Tottenham? Shit, you
yeah,
know.
they might drop another position or two this season.
Who is Tottenham? Do they make flutes? Uh,
But remember Matt Doherty's stupid tweet about Arsenal and being his favorite team and all that stuff. It's like, you can't, man.
mhm.
Mm.
Okay, Tony Wolves, Nuno Espirito. I think he is a very good tactical coach. 7 out of 10. I could see so many reasons why they would want Ainsley Maitland-Niles. He would have fitted in perfectly with that squad. I'm really thankful that firstly Ainsley Maitland-Niles looks like he's stepping up to another level under Arteta, and secondly that Wolves didn't get him for anything less than 20 million, and it's not going to happen now. But um, how do you think Wolves are going to go? They played really well last season, probably outperformed themselves expectations, and I think they're not going to be as good as they were last season.
I don't think you give him enough credit. I think he's an 8 out of 10 on technician.
Okay, yeah, he is very good. They are able to squeeze the life out of teams. And Ray Anderson, thanks for joining us. Better late than never, right? That's what he said.
I think if Wolves invested more, they could improve on their position. They're probably keeping a Europa spot more than likely if they don't invest enough.
Thanks, DWTT, for just reminding everyone to take a moment. If you haven't hit the like button yet, do it. If you're new here, and we do welcome everyone, new viewers. If you're watching on playback, hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. What we're trying to do is grow a community here so that we won a trophy last month, and when we start winning more trophies, because I think it's going to happen in the next few years, that we're all here celebrating. And let's not just celebrate trophies; we're going to celebrate 3 points as they come in. Um, Another thing I talked about in the last podcast is I want to get a prediction for everyone, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Everything's going to start October 6th. So I'm going to give you 4 games to get a beat on who's going to finish in the top 20. And I want you all to give your predictions on the exact placings on the top 20. There will be a prize at the end of the season. Um, and one also for you to predict the points finish, wins, draws, and losses for Arsenal this season.
Listen,
We're going to even go down to goals for, goals against, and goal difference because they're going to have to be able to get some winners from you if you predict correctly, perfectly at the end of the season. So that's what we're going to do. Spurs are not up to it. Okay, so Wolves, Alonso, what's your take on Wolves?
Well, I think that Espirito Santos is a good motivator. I think that he inspires his team, no matter how much of a budget they're on. I think that Naves is pretty good. I think the kid from Mexico, what's his name? Number 9, what's his name? Is it Raul?
From where?
Wolves.
Jimenez,
Jimenez, yeah.
striker.
He's very good. So
And he's in demand as well. He may actually move this season. And Traore as well, Armand Traore. But
yeah,
that's going to be huge. They want huge money for that.
and they defend well. So I think that let's put it this way: 5 years ago, when they were in the Premier League a while back, they weren't very good. But they have a team now that's always constantly in the Premier League, and they've made a name for themselves. Where before they barely reached the Premier League, they were always up and down, up and down, up and down. Now they have a solid foundation, and Cody's pretty good too as well, and so he's a good defender, and they have Montinho, and he's very good too. So they have a good team, and we want to root for a team like that. For me at least.
Yeah. DWTT, I agree with you here. Wolves just don't have enough this season. Arsenal underachieved and they overachieved. That's just your thoughts, and I agree with that. And so does Ray. Okay, we're going to get to Arsenal now. Tony, Arsenal very, very nearly got the record for draws last season.
Fourth,
As we know, we've talked about this. We've talked about this.
a couple of times.
We talked about it extensively last season. 17 draws was the record. We were short by 3. We got 14 draws. Uh, we won only 14 games and we lost 10. Almost as many games as Manchester City. It's quite easy for an optimistic Arsenal fan like myself to believe that we could turn a lot of those draws into wins. What do you think?
I think we easily can. Like I said, the players dropped tools from October to the first of the year. It still was achievable for us to get top 4 and even third last season if we didn't drop points late to Leicester and Tottenham. Some of them games we just dropped at the end. It's not too hard to make up the points we lost last year.
Exactly. Alonso, what's your feeling about the coming season for Arsenal now? We finished in, where was it? We finished 8th. We remember we finished 8th. And, you know, not that we need to harp on about following the Liverpool plan, but they jumped into the top 4 within one season. Can we do that?
It's gonna be tough. I think one thing we lacked last year is a creative midfielder that can shoot, pass the ball, and as well as shoot the ball. And we often found Lacazette in the in the midfield, and he tried to do too much. And I think now with it coming on, this is going to be a big improvement on last year's creativity in that department because he could both pass, assist, and score goals. So I can't wait to see him play. To be honest with you, I think he's going to make a real difference, and it could improve our team tremendously with his leadership and with his creativity. So I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic to get closer to the top 4 than we did this past season, and those roles can be turned into wins with the proper formation and the proper players.
Alonso, is it correct of me to think that Arteta can be tactically better than a lot of the coaches we talked about already above us?
Of course, and he's already shown that he can.
Yeah,
And he went to a back 3 for a reason,
yeah,
and he's not afraid to change his tactics before and during the game,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
like.
Tony, are you buying all of this? My optimistic slant on Arteta making up for some of the deficiencies we may have on the field in terms of evaluation of players or the elite level of players we're going to go up against. We are going to face Chelsea, like I said twice. A Man United team who will be dangerous going forward. A Wolves team who will be dangerous to beat.
Yeah, I think he can train the players, but rather if he can get it during the games and make the right substitutions and right tax, tactics during the match is still yet to be proven by him. I think he's great
And
on showing up the quality of the players and getting them trained, whether it translates or not. He's still been unable to get him to play for 90 minutes. He can't play
yeah,
half
well,
of
I don't think in the Premier League you're going to. No team dominates for 90 minutes. In the
not
Premier League,
play for a solid 90 minutes.
who play for solid
Not
90 minutes.
dominate, just play
Right,
solid.
right. Yeah, I accept that, and that's why we have to work on midfield here. It's so important the next few weeks to get a Partey in, to get an Auoar in, and we'll see what happens. Ray Anderson, thanks for joining us. He believes we can turn some of those draws into wins. We've won. If we had won 6 of those draws, then that's an extra 12 points. Exactly right, and that 12 points would have given us 68 points, um, and we'd be 2 points ahead of United and Chelsea now. Um, so important as well as DWTT said here to get Alba doing what he usually does as well, Tony. that he's going to continue scoring goals for us.
I think we're just too reliant on our forwards to get goals. 3 goals from the midfield isn't
No,
enough.
I definitely understand that. If we get a Partey and he's going to score about 4 goals a season, and no, sir, that's his record. He gets about 4 goals a season, Alonso.
All right.
It's not a lot, but it's chipping in from midfield. He's going to drive. He's going to run beyond the ball as well, which is something we don't have from our midfield. Our can add the creativity. I'm really hopeful that Emil Smith Rowe can get a chance as well, and we'll see what happens from there. If Arsenal gets all of their transfer targets, we can finish 3rd to 5th. I definitely agree with that rule. Exactly. I think I might have said that before as well. I feel Xhaka, Partey midfield could be well balanced. And Tony's shaking his head. All right. Let's quickly go through the last 2 teams in the top 10. Sheffield United and Burnley. For me, Burnley are always going to be a mid-table team. Sheffield United, Chris Wilder has done a great job with Sheffield United, but surely they won't have as good a season.
Yeah, they don't have enough offense, and they just totally dropped off after a restart.
And I have a question for everyone in the comments and the panel members here. Who do you think is going to be the surprise package this season? Who's going to push themselves into, say, 6th to 10th place that you wouldn't expect them to be? So we're talking about teams that we haven't mentioned yet: Southampton, West Brom, Leeds, Fulham. Who do you think is going to be that team? Alonso, you got anything?
Yeah. I think Southampton. They finished the season strong. They have a good striker. The defense isn't that bad. They lost Højbjerg, but I think he'll be replaced. So yeah, I think that they'll be a surprise team to watch out for. Maybe Southampton, maybe West Ham. West Ham. They're always start off decent, but they fall off. But there's always those teams that chill win. I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds made a run. They had made some good moves this past this summer. So there's I always like to see the teams that move up do well. To a point where they don't get relegated. Maybe Aston Villa. They have something to improve as well.
If they keep Grealish, right?
Right.
Tony, you got any surprise teams that might push into do what Sheffield United did last season or Wolves?
I think Everton's will get back up into their normal spot.
Everton. I mean, Ancelotti has a big job to do there, right?
And like Alonso said, I wouldn't be surprised if Southampton gets up there too, competing.
Wait, Hassan Hoodle and Danny Ings. Do you think Danny Ings is going to stay there?
More than likely, I think he will.
Will he kick on again, Alonso? Do you think he'll get the same amount of goals or more? That's going to be tough for Danny Ings to get the same amount of goals.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's like a folk hero. I think that everyone wants to root for a guy like Danny Ings. So I won't be. I hope he does stay for the price, for the sake of the team, for the club. They've been up there for a long time already in the Premier League. So, if they had a bad start to the season, remember. So, to see them stay up is pretty remarkable.
Okay, we're up to 15 likes. Thanks to everyone who has come in and participated tonight. If you have a moment and you haven't smashed the like button, just please do it now. Again, it's going to help bring more people into the channel, and it's going to increase the engagement that you're all doing right now in the chats, and it's a really great thing. As Arsenal is 8th place this past season, winning the FA Cup, winning the Community Shield. The only way is up for Arsenal. We're not going to finish below 8 next season, right, Tony?
Yeah, we should be at least 70 points, and 4 should be our goal.
We have to finish higher than that and get on the train now. Follow the Arsenal fan circle, and let's all enjoy what Arsenal are going to do this coming season. if there's any other questions in the comment section, or if Alonso or Tony have anything to add. Anything to add?
Yeah, I do. People want to bring in Partey and Auoar, but people don't mention Ceballos coming back. I think as big and important he was to the end of the season, I think that he's going to get better under Arteta. I think he has a spot still to play for in the Spain national team. So I'm excited about that. I think that having him back, he likes the club, he likes Arsenal. I think he likes the supporters, and I think the returners likewise. I think we love him. I think that there's not a bad thing I can say about Ceballos. I think with Emery, I think he didn't use him enough, and he gave up on them. I think Arteta said, "Listen, you worked hard, but you got to earn your spot," and he did. He did such thing, and it's important to. I'm glad to see him back. I think he wants to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Tobias from me. I'm glad you brought him up, Alonso. It's a great point. I think we probably didn't speak enough about Tobias. I think he was always going to be coming back to us. He formed a bond with Arteta this season. You could see it since the semi-final when we beat City in the FA Cup. High points from me. Tobias really kicked off his Arsenal career against Sheffield United when we scored that last minute. He scored that last minute goal. It was a really high moment for me. And then he did that pre-assist in the Leicester game. He played a great ball inside the fullback for Saka to get onto and square to Aubameyang, right?
Mm-hmm. That was great. Yeah.
Tony?
He had a great hockey assist there. I think
Yeah.
Supply.
Well, I'm starting to get into the old pre-assist thing and cherishing what our midfielders are doing because we've been starved of assists from our midfielders. A word on Saka as well. He was one of our highest assist makers last season, so I'm expecting him to kick on this season. And Alonso Pepe has to break out this season. I think he's going to break out.
Yeah, because he showed glimpses of it, and I think as long as we see glimpses, I think that he's on his way. I think that his card are amazing. I think his passing needs work, but I think that he's improved that as the season went on last year.
Yeah.
But these guys had been in right formation as well. I think they had been in right place, right positions. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of talent there that we haven't seen in a very long time, and
exactly.
So, yeah.
Rule said, and this is very true. Rule and I think alike. I love it. But it's always good to debate things as well. But Rule, you think exactly like I do. Our 11 is already better than last season's 11 with our signings. We bring Partey in and Auoar in. Gabriel's in. I'm very, very excited to see Gabriel and Saliba together. But I do feel that David Luiz has to stay with them and kind of help them through the season for the first half of the program, let's say, 15 to 20 games.
I think
David Luiz is going to be very, very important. And when you look on the bench as well, Alonso, you see a lot more depth there.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be important from our Europa Leagues, our Europa League games, as well as the League Cup games and FA Cup games and the lower tier games. Sometimes we tend to forget players that you're on the team, like Moray, like Colin Chambers. These guys still have a bit on the team and just had a death finally after all these years. And it's interesting how those names still matter. Look at Emmanuel Smith. He just come back from loan, so he still has a place on the team as well. So it's just very exciting time for the team, even for the youngsters.
Definitely. Final thoughts, Tony, before we get out of here. And I want to say quickly thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight. Really, really great support for the channel. Great support for Arsenal. we're all excited for the new season coming up. It's what 9 days away now. It might actually be a Friday night game as well. So I hope we've helped you sort of look around the league, the top 10, and see what's going on. There's situations at other clubs as well that are similar to ours. Liverpool fans are not exactly happy right now. Um, Although they've won the league, there's some of them that are like the Arsenal fan base going into meltdown. So we have to understand that. We have to understand that the transfer market is going to go on till the 6th of October. I want you all to wait until the 6th of October and then submit your top 20 in terms of your league positions if you're going to go in for the competition. And you can also do that in terms of the wins, losses, draws, for, against, points, all that stuff. Tony, your final thoughts?
I think we'll keep the back three since we got Saliba and Gabriel back there.
Gabriel.
Beast does have to be back there helping communicate for Gabriel since he can't speak English very well. I think Ceballos will be getting starts, and if we get Partey, we'll only be seeing them two as a
Yeah,
midfield.
that communication will be important to have David Luiz in the side with Gabriel as well to help him along in games. He'll be able to communicate with Saliba as well, probably through French as well. Hopefully, Gabriel has French with him as well. Alonso, final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
My final thought is that, and look at players coming up from injury, coming back from loan. They still have a spot in the team, and it's good to see because we need that depth, like AMN and Tom Chambers and Mare, and all these players that don't get playing time in the past now got a chance because they play Europa League now, and we may see an where cut his arm down, for a couple games. So I'm happy about where the team's going. I think it may be a flourish in Premier League once again, and yeah, I'm excited about the season starting.
Yeah, I think everyone in the chats as well is generally excited about how things are going. We have to remember this feeling that we have of optimism right now, because we do have a difficult first 10 games of the season, especially away from home. We're going to play Liverpool, United, and City away from home. And bear that in mind when the rest of the fan base is going to go into meltdown. We're going to lose a few games in the first 10 games, but having said that, the schedule then gets a lot easier, getting those games out of the way. Um, and DWT says if Arsenal regresses from the end of the season, then it will be disappointing. Struggling in the mid-table, I hope will be a distant past. Exactly. I don't see us setting the world alight in the first 10 games. We will get 16 to 18 points, which will keep us in a decent position to strike for the top four in the latter part of the season. We do need Partey, Lombard Camp. Very disappointing the last couple of seasons, but time to kick on. Listen, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate everyone for joining us. Today's episodes were brought to you by Alonso, Ray, and Batman.
And
Now, it was really brought to you by Ray, Alonso, and Tony. And I prefer to organize those three letters into art, not rat or tar. Today's episode is brought to you by Art, Alonso, Ray, and Tony. Until Sunday, we will see you then. Come on, you gooders, and thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the circle. This is what it's all about. It is for you. This channel is free. All we ask is you hit the like button. It really would help. And subscribe if you're new around here. Ray wants 20 points from 10 matches. Not inconceivable. And Tony knows it's very hard for me to close that podcast because just I enjoy all of the interaction with you all. But for God's sake, some of you are in the UK and go to bed. All right. We'll see you.
40 minutes by yourself.
We'll see you on Sunday. I did 40 minutes by myself last Sunday. We'll see you on Sunday at a reasonable hour for the UK, 7 p.m. in the UK, 2 p.m. here on the East Coast. And Steve Denham, appreciate you. Appreciate you, Ray Anderson, Stefan, DWT, Lumber Camp. Too many to talk about. Rule. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Come on, you Gunners, up the Arsenal. And bye bye from Batman and Alonso.